Begin tonight with a newly leaked U.S. Army military police training manual for what they are calling civil disturbance operations. The Army manual outlines the plan to kill rioters and demonstrators in America. That's right, they have plans to confiscate our firearms and kill American citizens on U.S. soil. This during a mass civil unrest, I guess, shooting innocent civilians perhaps. And it goes on to describe how prisoners will be processed through internment camps. Wow. So there you have it. Our own military being trained for armed conflict with U.S. citizens. They're being trained to confiscate our guns in preparations to process us into camps during civil unrest.
A pretty scary scene along the Chicago River turns out to be a military training exercise.
There was nothing routine that folks reported about seeing the jarring, as they witnessed the jarring scene of at least 3 Black Hawk helicopters flying at times in close order formation.
Just in, a military drill in downtown Miami, complete with these Black Hawk helicopters, elite soldiers, and police officers swarming the street.
Take a look, swing back over here. This may be involved in this training or not. Again, let me tell you what all of this is that we know of. It's a joint military training exercise involving local police, also military.
Sight of Army helicopters and the sound of gunfire created a lot of concern this afternoon in one Houston neighborhood.
There were armed men in fatigues, plenty of weapons, and what many thought were real live rounds.
Armed Black Hawk. I told you they were coming.
There's no lights on them. They're like bugs.
So here's the article by Steve Watson. Military helicopters conduct covert exercises over U.S. bank buildings. This is all part of other drills going on to acclimate the public to being attacked by our own military that are happening here in the United States. Here it is.
LAPD and elite military units conducted extraordinary counterterrorism training in the skies above downtown LA tonight.
At one point, they made what appeared to be a drop-off at a park. Within seconds of landing, the helicopter was back in the air.
It was a strange sight in the skies over Los Angeles. Military Special Forces flying a practice mission last night, and there are more exercises scheduled for today. The entire city of Boston is in lockdown. In the suburb of Watertown, police with guns drawn are searching door to door.
I mean, we had martial law up there. FBI and all these agents coming in, closing things down, going to people's houses.
Mr. President, I do want to get right to the news of this week.
Sure.
The terrorism in Boston.
Yeah.
Many people have wondered if it took you right back to 9/11 when you heard it.
Well, at first, I was deeply concerned that there might have been a organized plot. I don't know all the facts. I don't think we all know all the facts, but I was deeply concerned that this could have been, another.
Who are the people that are about to get cut off? Predominantly cut off in these inner cities. Is this a global conspiracy against a particular people? Absolutely. But the problem is the people whom the conspiracy is against have no idea why there's a conspiracy against them. They have no idea that they are the people of the Bible, and that because of this prophecy concerning them to one day rise, you are a threat to the Roman Empire. Whether you accept the truth of who you are or not, you're still a threat. They're looking to totally annihilate you. Okay.
To lead in shaping a new world order for the 21st century.
Him about the field of black boxes. What were they? Because I'd never seen anything like that, and his statement was that if he told me, I would be one of few people in Madison, Georgia that knew about them. And he says they're disposable coffins, I believe he told me, and he says there's 100, at that time, he said there was 125,000 there.
And the brother of the man that owns this field, that the government is leasing this field from to store these disposable coffins, this brother was given 3 years to set up temporary morgues around the country.
Some people may ask, well, why are they doing this now? Why didn't they do this a long time ago? Well, they're doing it now because they have assumed their power over the earth and don't need the industrial workers within the United States anymore. They don't need the slaves anymore. They have built their grid. So what do they do with all these people they can't feed anymore? What they call wasteless eaters. See, they only had slaves to build their order, to fight in their wars, to build their systems, to build their country up. But there's nothing else to build. They went out in space like it was prophesied, so you have actually helped them fulfill their mission and to have their military go out in space and set their grid to fight against the coming of our Lord and Savior. So that's it. They don't need you. They went from the automotive thing to, they went from steam to automotive. They went, and they was keeping you alive to build their military construct. That's it. They had everybody go to Detroit, move to Detroit for the car movement and all that, and the automobiles, but what they didn't tell you, that was just a front. That technology was being used so that they can actually build machines to go out in space, and machines that would eventually fight and destroy you. Okay? So they sold you an image. They sold all of us an image. And while we were working there, we didn't understand that these jobs were temporal. Now that they have assumed the power over the earth, they don't need you. They can now go to a third world country and get servitude if they need that. But the American people are too high up. They're too free of thinkers. And the majority of God's people, with that freedom of free thinking, have learned the truth in that particular country. So now you are a threat to the New World Order. I'll never forget teaching on the street and say, brothers and sisters, you're going to look up, there are going to be tanks rolling down the street. I remember that like it was yesterday. People just going to the mall, relaxing, having fun, going to meet people at the bar. I'm like, listen, tanks will be rolling down these streets. Now they have done major construction on all the highways throughout the United States to make it able ready. Not for easy access travel, but for military travel. And they've already put the checkpoints in place with the DUI checkpoints. It have nothing to do with drunken while being under the influence. It have everything to do with what they're putting in place to actually crush God's people. It's the Romans against the children of Israel, and we are in the final siege. And I'm going to tell you, brothers, I'm going to say it again. It doesn't matter if you believe that the Bible is true or not. I know one thing, the prophecies in the Bible are true. And I know this, that when Christ told our people that when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, flee into the mountain, that the people that didn't believe the Most High word was true through Christ was destroyed. So the Most High is gracious enough to at least sound the trumpet and give you ample warning. Now, whether or not you want to believe in the Bible is another thing. But I know this, that we're definitely living the prophecies of the Bible. What I'm reading, it's like history repeating itself over again. And while our people just walking around and shopping and operating like everything is fine. So all these distractions in the world, they have us focusing on all these other things that are going on. Especially with the distraction box called TV. Not realizing a deluge is prepared. A desolation is prophesied. So here it is. Instead of just sending the armies all against Jerusalem, which were our foreparents in Israel, all at once, they say, well, listen, let's just put a garrison around, of armies around, which is your border control. And let's not let anyone get in or out. And we can control their consumption. So now that our people have been so dependent on the EPTs and food stamps, when they start pulling that away from you, and then through chaos, the trucks and all the other resources that you would normally get cannot come into your cities based on this martial law and confusion, this urban shield, then how will you eat? And this is something that can't be prayed away. And I'm going straight to the churches now. Say, well, just have faith. Food is not going to fall from the sky because you believe. Because you think you believe when you're not believing and preparing with the faith contained in the Bible. We're not talking magic here. So all the churches out there, they have to move their doctrine from prosperity to preparation. Leave all those mega churches and get back into your small units to prepare, to help each other like we did back then. Creflo Dollar, all these guys are going to be on their jets out someplace. And those same buildings that they have made, these mega churches, will also be used as processing plants for the fusion centers. They weren't built so you can praise God, okay? We are God's people. It's just that the Khazars, who are now claimed to be Jews, have educated us. They have taken our identity and called us Ham and taught that in their institutions under the Jesuit order of the Catholic Church. We're Israelites. So this aim had been towards us the whole time. And they had to do this. They had to slowly destroy us. Because we're we're strong, number one, physically strong. And there's too many of us in number. And they are afraid that if we come together, we will call on one God and assume our rightful positions as leaders of this earth. So what did they do? During the Civil Rights Movement, which was a prominent part of history within the United States, they seen how much power men like Martin Luther King had, who had more status amongst our people than the President of the United States. They took him down and then started setting up handouts under the Civil Rights Movement, claiming that they're making reparations or trying to even the playing field for those who are children of slaves. So welfare was not first promoted as an entitlement. It was a way to balance the inequality within the United States. See? Because they were paying us less than white people. So they say, well, we're going to subsidize you by giving you more food. That's where that came. That was the initial reason for the program. It wasn't no entitlement. But they used that and say, you know what? Let's take this system and let's set up the mark of the beast with it. Let's get the man out of the home and control the families and the future mindsets of the family with this system. And make it where now they're no longer dependent on themselves as a strength like they were in the 60s. Now they are dependent on the same government that's looking to destroy them. See? It happened before. Remember when they gave up Christ? And says, listen, he claimed to be king, Caesar, when there's no king but you, Caesar. See? Rejected our king, some of our people, for Caesar. That's what's happening with the preachers in 501c3 selling out to the government. And then when everything was said and done, the same people whom our leaders over the Sanhedrin was honoring because he was giving them a little cash for a time. The same Caesar line family destroyed us in 70 AD. Caesar is not for us. He never was. Caesar is a Satan worshiper. They're the serpent people. Satan and his people would impose their will on God's people, on the children of Israel, the people of the Bible, and look to utterly eradicate them. Read Revelations 12.
Revelations chapter 12, verse 1.
Read the 12th verse.
Verse 12. Therefore rejoice ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
So ever since Christ was crucified, the time that Satan would have start ticking down. You understand? That was the beginning of Satan's clock ticking down against him. That's why it says, woe unto the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, because he's going to come down on the people that's living in this earth knowing he have a short time. Now think about that. That means he would use anything in the earth to fulfill his will to get back into the heavens, even if it means destroying everyone in it. See? Read.
13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth,
when he seen that he had no more access to the heavenly throne,
he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child.
He persecuted the woman that brought forth the man-child. The woman is Israel. So when it says he persecuted the woman that brought forth the man-child, he persecuted the people who brought forth Christ, who had the power to ban Satan from the heavenly realm. So now, since he can't get Christ, he can't fight against Christ, his only pretext now is to what? To war against Christ's people. 70 AD. Read.
14. And to the woman were given 2 great wings of an eagle.
That means she flew. She fleed. How do we know that woman is the 12 tribes of Israel? Read up the first verse real quick.
Verse 1. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet.
Go ahead.
And upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
See, that 12 stars represents what? The 12 tribes of Israel. Go ahead, read back where you were.
14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle.
So the Most High gave some direction to those that took heed to his prophecy. See, those that took heed to the prophecy didn't get destroyed in Masada in 70 AD. They went into Africa. They followed what Christ said. Read.
That she might fly into the wilderness.
Where it's prepared what?
That she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and a half time, from the face of the serpent.
So the Most High gave us Africa as a nourishment against the face of the serpent people. See that? Africa was a refuge from our homeland. It wasn't the motherland, it was an alternative. See that? From the face of the serpent. Who was the serpent people? The Khazars. That was the religion of the Jewish people before they converted into Judaism. They were called the serpent people in Khazaria. If you don't believe me, type in serpent people Khazaria if you're on your computers here. That's who they were. Khazar or Caesar. Khazar come from the word Caesar or Tsar. Like the Roman czars, they're the same people too. The German czars, they all the same. The Queen of England, she's from the German Tsar bloodline. She's from the bloodline of Caesar. So is the Bushes, who's controlling the United States. See? They lie. They assume other positions. Why? Because there's no rules in Satan's game. He can lie, steal, kill, and cheat. You say, listen, I don't got to tell the people who I am. They're the serpent people. They're the Romans. They're the Gentiles who have taken our homeland. Read.
15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
That water after the flood, that water which is a flood after the woman, was all the philosophies and lies and plans against the same people that ran out of where? Out of Israel and escaped. So since they couldn't kill us all at once in 70 AD because we took heed of Christ's prophecies, they began to come up with forms of philosophy and religion and a new form of education that would take us out, since they couldn't take us out physically at first. So every place they go on their so-called missionaries is to bring this water, this flood of lies through philosophy or religion. And usually it encompasses paganism, idolatry, immorality, homosexuality, all the things with these, IDs on the end is what they've placed on our people. Okay. Read.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
Of the flood, that's the lies they brought with their Roman imperialistic thinking. Read.
And the earth helped the woman.
When it says the earth helped the woman, how did the earth help the woman? We're going to show you. Read.
And the earth opened her mouth, and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Because later on, because the Bible said you in Daniel that knowledge shall increase, we received books that was hid by the Roman canon. And these books were found in the Qumran caves. Books like Enoch, that came from the earth, that was held in earthen pots by the Essenes. This information totally destroyed the lies and philosophies of the Jesuit church. It totally brings the full understanding of the scripture to the forefront, and it tear down all the lies that we were taught in our Christian churches. So that's what it means the earth helped the woman. The Most High put a spirit on the Essenes to hide certain records, like the book of Jasher, like the book of Enoch. Okay, even the 70 scriptures that was hid under Esdras, that information was hid, so that we understand what happens after death. Read.
17. And the dragon was wroth with the woman.
Now the dragon, which is Satan, who's the father, the old serpent, the devil, who's the father of the serpent people. Read.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
They went to make war with the remnant of her seed, those who have escaped. You people in America, you people that are suffering on EPDs, you are the remnant of the seed. You are the children. You are the children of those who escaped the delusion 70 AD. They didn't forget you. See? So he went to make war with the remnant. That means a small group that escaped. That seed that escaped what they did to us in 70 AD. See? So the elite powers with the ancient wisdom know exactly who you are. And while they teach you in your systems, in your schools, it doesn't matter, everyone is the same. But yet, they separate themselves due to bloodline. And I even hear, like I read some material, and I hear some of the Jewish people say that we must preserve our Jewish culture. We must have a place for Israel. But they don't say that for no other people. But yet they teach us that bloodline doesn't matter. See? Finish reading.
And went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
They went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which what?
Which keep the commandments.
Which keep the commandments, and that's why they teach you in your churches not to follow them. Read.
Which keep the commandments of the Most High.
And what?
And have the testimony of Yeshua the Christ.
And have testimony of Christ. So they're looking to actually aim this war against that remnant that came from those that escaped, that would one day find out that we're the children of Israel and keep the commandments and follow Christ. So they're setting up the apparatus all at once to eventually destroy them. That's where the aim is. That's where it's being aimed towards, brothers and sisters. Those that keep the commandments of the Most High and what?
And have the testimony of Yeshua.
And have the testimony of Yeshua.